Welcome to Let's Just Be Real with me, your host, Marissa Tong. I'm a multi-passionate creative entrepreneur who's on a journey to create my dream life in a world where adulting just gets too real sometimes. On this podcast, we talk about all things beyond surface level to leave you feeling inspired to think bigger, unapologetically prioritize your self-care, and discover your true, authentic self. Think of me as your unfiltered but wise auntie who just wants the best for all of us. So grab your journal or maybe a glass of wine and let's get real. What's up, you guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Let's Just Be Real podcast. I am your host, Marissa Tong. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode this week. Happy Wednesday. Happy November. This is our first episode of the month, of my birthday month. Okay. We are officially deep into Scorpio season, and I hope y'all are feeling it. There's actually a lot going on as far as the astrology. You guys know I'm always going to start an episode with a little bit of a recap, a refresh of what's happening. And I'm not going to go deep into it. Y'all can actually go listen to an astrology podcast if you want to. That's not what this is, but we do have some big transits this week that I think are visibly making an impact on the collective. And one of them that I want to talk about is Mars going into Sagittarius. So yesterday, Tuesday, was election day. And if you guys know, we have a new mayor in the city of New York, or the state of New York, or the city. Yeah, the city. And it's crazy. Like, he is an Arabic man. He's a millennial. He's 34 and he is married to apparently Gen Z. I think his wife is a little younger, and they are very like progressive, socialist. Like it's crazy. So a lot of history was made yesterday with the election. I honestly do not follow up on politics like that. I am not a political girly. And as much as I might be poking the bear and speaking up about things, I think I'm more of a person that likes to challenge our consciousness, and I like to allow people to think about things that maybe we don't always want to say, or we feel like people are going to judge us for saying it. I'm the girl who's going to say it. That's just me. Okay. I have Mercury in Sagittarius, and that's where Mercury is right now. So my communication, my mind right now is just, it's feeling very spicy. I've always been someone, as a Scorpio as well as Scorpio sun, who I want to speak truth into things. I like to speak truth. I like to look for people who are honest, people who have radical opinions about things, people who are not afraid of shaking the table, And we are in a place right now in this country and in this world where the tables are being shook. Okay, the tables are being shook. So if you're feeling right now like you're still afraid to speak up about certain things, you're still afraid to speak up about Palestine, you're still afraid to speak up, you thinking that you speaking out about Israel is going to make you less of a Jew or anything. And I don't know how many Jewish listeners I have on here, but I think for a long time, I think a lot of people have just been silenced into not speaking up about certain things because they're afraid that they're going to be judged or excommunicated, or people are going to shun them and be like, oh, you can't say that if you're part of this religion. And we're not going to touch too much on religion here. I know it's a very touchy subject, and we have in previous episodes talked about religion. My most recent guest episode, not the one last week, but with Valerie Joanne, shout out to her, fellow Scorpio as well. She was on the podcast a couple weeks ago, and we were talking about, goddess energy, and we were talking about how women have been kind of programmed over the years to believe that they are not powerful beings, that they have their destiny held in maybe like a man's hands. We got into it a lot. We talked about religion a little bit. We talked about the whole kind of burning of women at the stake and silencing women. And we're going to get deeper into that as we go. Trust me. Okay. We have literally just hit the point where Aquarius has gone direct. And so we're now in this era of Pluto being in Aquarius. This is where they officially call it the age of Aquarius. And I'm also an Aquarius rising. To give you guys my big three, if you don't know. I don't know if I've ever given my big three on the podcast, but I am a Aquarius rising, Scorpio sun, Taurus moon. So today's actually a full moon in Taurus. So I am just really nurturing myself today. I'm listening to my body. This is a audio only episode. As much as I would love to have put out a video today for the YouTube girlies, I know that I just needed to put the episode out and I wasn't ready to get on camera today, to be honest. I really need to do my hair. I know that's going to take a while and I didn't want y'all waiting for this episode, until Thursday. So here we are with just an audio episode, taking it back to the roots, okay, back to the origins. I kind of miss when we had audio only episodes. Like that was a time. And I feel like honestly, that gave me the momentum to kind of just like get into podcasting mode. I was able to just get my reps in, get my practice in without this pressure of hopping on camera, now editing my videos, making sure that I look super, super cute and there's no lipstick on my teeth and just like all this stuff. Like right now I'm sitting here with a messy bun and no makeup, no lipstick. And I feel like I can still connect and send out the same message as if I were, on video. So I don't think there's any difference. I think sometimes we put so much pressure on ourselves to show up in a certain way because that's how everyone else is showing up. That's what everyone else is doing. Oh my God, I need to make sure I'm on YouTube, even though like I'm not comfortable being on camera. We have to stop sometimes forcing ourselves. And I know I can be a little contradictory with certain things. For instance, showing up on social media, I think if that's part of your job and it's something that you need to do in order to promote your work or you're helping people create content or whatever the case, yeah, you do need to show up sometimes when you don't want to. Yeah, you do need to get a little uncomfortable. But I think when it comes to if it's stopping us from putting out the work, if it's stopping us from creating the content, if it's stopping us from sending out the message that we want to send, I think sometimes we just need to make our lives as simple as possible so that we can get into that momentum and that practice instead of waiting for the perfect circumstances, right? And today I really want to just talk like woman to woman, girl to girl. Like this is a girl chat. And I am actually going to be introducing, I know before we were trying to like test out listener letters and all that, but I think honestly, I'm sure y'all don't want to like type up another email. Or like, I'm sure everybody has emails that they already need to send out to people and they're just procrastinating on it, calling myself out. But I am going to be introducing listener calls and messages. So you guys are going to be able to call in, send a question via voice, kind of like a voicemail. And I'm going to be choosing one each week, except when we have guest episodes. I probably will not. So these will be just for the solo episodes. And I'm going to be answering your questions or giving some feedback. And I just want to let you know, I am not a licensed therapist. Okay. I am not. It's funny because I was talking to my best friend last night and she's like, yeah, I was like talking to my parents and I was like, I feel like Marissa would be such a good therapist. And I'm like, you know what? You might be right, but maybe when I'm like 60 or 70, like that might be a career that I want to like settle into. But number one, I'm not a school girly. Okay. I'm not even gonna hold you. Like I can't do like institutions where I have to learn in a certain way. I'm very like neurospicy. I need to learn in my own unique way. And most of the time that is me like getting hands-on practice and work and just figuring shit out. Like I'm not a girl who can just sit and like read a manual or read a book and then be like, okay, yeah, I'm ready to go. Like, no, I need to be in there. Okay. So that being said, going back to the listener messages and voice notes. So I'm not a licensed therapist. So if you're going to be writing in certain things like, me and my dad got in an argument yesterday and now like I'm going to cut him off after all these years and I'm finally ready. I don't know about that, girl. Okay. That I would say, please take that to a family therapist or I there's just certain things I'm not qualified to have an opinion on. Okay. But things like dance related questions, fitness, wellness related questions, travel, solo travel. I've been to a few places by myself. If you guys follow me on my personal Instagram or on my retreats page, you see like I've traveled to quite a few places over the years. So questions like that, like what's this country like? How is Greece? What was your experience as a Black woman? Things like that. Also dating questions. I am open to answering those. So if you have any specific questions about like a person you're dating, again, I'm not a licensed therapist. So there's certain things that if it's pertaining to, abuse or something like that, I ain't gonna answer that. Okay, I'm gonna tell you maybe you need to call 911 or something. Okay, because honey, I just can't. So let's just keep it cute. All right, so that will be launching in our next episode next week, which will be the 12th, but I'm gonna be opening that up to you guys, so there will be a link on our YouTube account and on our Substack and on our Instagram, so you guys can have that link to send me a voice note, send me a message. I would love to hear, or just, messages like, I love the podcast. I love when people are able to share their success stories or just ways that I've been able to impact them in some way, because that really helps me to continue what I'm doing. Sometimes it can feel really discouraging to put out all this work and take all this time to create content, sit down, choose a topic, talk about it, pour my heart out, be really vulnerable and transparent sometimes. And I'm like, do people like this content? Like, do y'all like me? Do y'all like the show? Like, what's going on? Because the ratings aren't matching up to the views and the listen. So, so I would really love if you guys could, if you haven't already, leave us a rating and review on Apple or Spotify. On Apple, you can actually write out a full review with words. It could take 10 seconds or less. Okay. You could just be like, I really love the show because I feel like it's my big sis telling me how I need to move about my day to feel better, or how I need to set better dating standards, or how I need to show up for myself and build my confidence. Whatever it is, whatever value that you're getting from this show every time you tune in, however it's making you feel every time you listen to it, put in the review. I would love to hear it. Okay. Or you can wait for our voice notes and you can send it in that way. I would love that too. So today is a chill episode. Like I said, we're just chatting. It's just a girl chat here, like a little catch up kiki. But I was going through my threads recently and I was like, I feel like my threads sometimes are just unhinged thoughts, like I said. And I feel like some of the things that I have threaded about, not tweeted, threaded about, can be kind of like topics for this podcast. So one thing that I want to bring up, like woman to woman, and this might be a new segment on the show, like woman to woman. Let's talk about this. This might be like a hot topic or something that I pull out of my brain for the week. And I'm like, woman to woman, let's talk about this. So yesterday I had posted on Threads that any man that we are considering, ladies, for a long-term partnership, they should have a work ethic that exceeds our own. Okay, I would say exceeds times 5 to 10%. I mean, not 5 to 10%, 5 to 10 times, period. Okay. So if you are a boss ass bitch, if you are an entrepreneur, if you are a hardworking girly, you're out here with a 9 to 5, you're out here working multiple jobs, you're out here putting in the work. Okay. Putting in the work, tired, sleepy, need a massage yesterday. It's only going to help you to date a man who has a work ethic that exceeds yours. You cannot afford to be with someone who is lazy. You cannot afford to be with someone who does not want to work. First of all, like, that's just such a turnoff for me within a man. Like, why would I want to be with a man who does not want to work? Sir, what were you put here for, to do? Because I thought men were here to be hunters and gatherers, to go find the food. Like, I'm just confused. Okay, so if we are dealing with a man who does not want to work, that should be the number one red flag. Okay, we never date a man who is unemployed. We're not doing that. Okay, and not to say that circumstances and situations cannot happen. We see right now what's happening with the government shutdown. So many people are out of work right now. But again, that's a situation that is out of people's control, right? But if you're meeting someone on like a dating app or in person in the wild, and this person does not have a job, like no income coming in, they should not be dating, number one. And you should not be dating them. You should not be entertaining, okay? Unless you are a girl who's just trying to get her freak on. If this is someone who's like super attractive and you're just like, I just need to taste the rainbow. Okay. I just need a little taste. Okay. Cause mama's thirsty. Okay, fine. Do what you gotta do, boo. But don't be pulling up to the diner, after and then you get stuck with the bill because that's what's gonna happen. That's what's gonna happen. You get the late night munchies and, you want a little snack or you want a little DoorDash after you just had like a little rendezvous. And guess who's stuck paying for the bill? You, boo. You looking like Boo Boo the Fool. Okay. So we're not doing that. We're not doing that in 2025. We're not doing that in 2026. And here's a even better reason, okay? Let's be serious for once. I've been joking around, but I'm very serious actually, okay? It's actually a very dangerous thing to be dating a man who does not have the same amount of either money, work ethic, or he's just not there. He doesn't have the same ambition. He doesn't have the same drive, right? And again, I don't think that it needs to be even. I think that it needs to exceed yours. And here's why. So recently I would say over the summer, there was this girl on TikTok. I can't say I remember her name, but there was a situation where this girl, she's like an influencer, beautiful girl. I don't know if she models, but influencer, and has like this huge following on TikTok. So somehow her story, ended up coming up on my feed and I got invested in it. And basically this girl was saying how she was dating this guy. She's been with this guy for a really long time. And apparently he started getting mad that she was traveling. She had went to like Greece with her mom, and she, I guess, told the boyfriend that he couldn't come because she didn't want to pay for him to come. He didn't have the money to go. So she ended up going with her mom. This man was so mad. And I think at the time, I don't know if she said they had broke up before she left or whatever the case, but this man was in her apartment while she was gone. Okay. Security, apparently he's cool with like the security of the building. So he was able to get in the apartment, blah, 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 whatever. And he ended up like beating this girl up, giving her a horrible black eye. Trigger warning. I should have said that first, but it is what it is at this point. So she ends up getting like this huge black eye. So all these videos are her with like this super swollen black eye, like just telling the story. So it was like, I want to say like 10 videos that she had broken to like, different parts of the story. And ultimately it came down to the fact that this man had nothing. This man had nothing of his own. This man was very codependent, very, very dependent, not even codependent, because she's not depending on him for anything unless it's just love, physical attraction in most cases, right? Or it could be a guilt thing, right? Not wanting to leave him behind, which is where most women end up being, right? And finding themselves when dealing with a man who has nothing. You end up feeling guilty. You end up feeling bad. You end up having to drag this man along with you everywhere, paying for him, paying for his portion, making sure that he's taken care of. And meanwhile, this man is resenting you. Right. So she was explaining that this man ended up resenting her and she just felt like he didn't like her. And let's be real, any man that's going to put his hands on you does not like you. It's not even a love thing at that point. He does not like you. He does not respect you. He thinks you're one of his boys for him to put his hands on you. Like, that's crazy. So she's telling this whole story of like how it's this whole thing, and she ended up running out her apartment. You guys can go and I'll try to find it so that I can link it on YouTube, or I'll link it somewhere where you guys can go see the story. Maybe I'll clip it and put a clip on YouTube if you guys are watching. So she ends up telling this whole story. And basically the moral of the story here was that when you're going somewhere, when you're going places, when you're creating a career for yourself, when you're creating a life for yourself that is so luxurious and beautiful, and you have all this freedom and you have all this financial abundance, right? And you have this person in your energetic field, living with you, staying with you, taking up your energy, right? You're having sex with this person, you're exchanging sexual energy. This person is literally draining you, draining your life force, draining you, taking things from you, right? And the worst part about it is this person is taking something that they did not work towards, they did not work for, right? And sometimes we see that these people often in divorces, right, when it comes down to a nasty divorce or something like that, where the spouse is trying to get alimony from the wife. I'm talking about in this dynamic specifically, where the wife or, the girlfriend has more money. We end up seeing this unfortunate, sad situation, right? If there's no prenup involved, that the woman ends up having to pay the man all of this money, all of this alimony, basically supporting his life, supporting his lifestyle, right? And then he goes and he ends up getting with another girl, right? We saw it with Wendy Williams, man. Went and got this young girl pregnant while spending Wendy Williams money. I refuse. I refuse to be that girl. So in my thread yesterday, I mentioned that it's just not going to work. It's not going to work if you're someone that works way harder than your man. So I just want that to be something that we are looking out for and being aware of when we are dating and when we are seeking out our romantic partner. It has to be someone who not only like has a great work ethic, but I think it's important too that they love what they do, or they at least enjoy what they do, or they're passionate about it, or they enjoy going to work, right? If you're with a man who every morning he's waking up begrudgingly, he's waking up like, oh my God, like can't get out of bed. You have to wake this man up. You're shaking this man's shoulder for him to get out of bed, right? You're pushing him. You got to make his breakfast. You got to pack his bag. You got to pack his lunch, right? This man is literally dragging his feet because he does not want to go to work. That is also not going to help the situation, right? Now you're using more of your energy, more of your time to now push this person to go and provide in an environment where maybe he doesn't want to do that. And there's a lot of us who may not necessarily love our jobs, right? We might not be in love with our jobs. We might not be super passionate about work, right? I've worked plenty of jobs where I was just there for a check, but I always made the most of it, right? I've always made the most of it. I've always tried to just be present while I am there and do my best, do the work that I was hired to do. But if you're having a man who does not like his job, he doesn't like what he does, and he does not enjoy being in that environment, it's only going to make him miserable, and he's going to take that anger, frustration, and stress out on you. So we want to avoid that. Okay. So another thing I want to talk about woman to woman is just this idea of, and this kind of ties into the last thing I was talking about, but this idea of allowing a man's emotions and actions to dictate yours, right? So again, if we want to use that example of this man that you're dating or that you're married to not wanting to go into his job or feeling unmotivated to, to provide and to make money, to show up in the world and be a man, right? Because that's what we expect men to do. We expect them to show up and work and provide. So if that's affecting his mental health, right? It's affecting his emotions. He's now coming home sad or depressed or annoyed. He's super agitated, right? And maybe now he only wants to come home and like watch TV. He wants to come straight home and sit on the couch, throw some food in the microwave, one of the man dinners, those hungry man dinners as they used to be eating back in the day. I hope people aren't eating those still because that's just crazy. But you have this man who just comes home. He just wants to sit on the couch. He doesn't want to talk to you. He doesn't want to talk to anyone because he's so mentally drained, right? So now you're in this cycle of kind of walking on eggshells with this man because you don't know what you're going to get, right? You don't know what you're going to get. It's like a sour patch. Am I getting sweet today? Am I getting a little more sour? Am I getting someone does he want to talk to me today? Is he in the mood? Is he in the mood? If you have to constantly ask yourself if a man is in the mood to talk to you, to engage with you, to go out with you, that is not a relationship. That is not a dynamic that sounds like it's going to last much longer, right? It sounds like prison, actually. Why am I in a relationship? Why am I dating someone who doesn't want to talk to me? Bro, you should light up every time you see me. If you're not cheesing every time you see me, every time I walk through a door, every time you walk through a door, if you are not cheesing from cheek to cheek, bone to bone, tooth to tooth, okay, then you're not the man for me. Okay, I need to be with someone who is obsessed with me. And I really feel like this is how most women feel, but we just don't want to admit it. We want to play cool. We want to play, it's okay. Like, yeah, I love him so much. Like, he's just so wishy-washy. He's just so moody. Like, no, why is he wishy-washy and moody? Is he getting his period every month? Are his hormones changing every month? Because I'm just confused. Like, me as a woman, I should be the moody one, if anything. Why are a man's emotions all over the place? because they're not happy in their lives, because they have no emotional regulation. That's why. So now you have to deal with not only this man's moods, unpredictability, you have to deal with walking on eggshells, you have to deal with him not being content with his life, right? And now this is adding to the stress of your life. It's now giving you anxiety, right? Now you're feeling bad because you love your job. You love what you do, right? You created this beautiful life for yourself where you have built this career and this life, and you love your coworkers and you're always spending time with them and you're excited to wake up and go to work, right? Maybe you work from home, you have your cute little desk set up, right? But you can't be excited visibly around him because he's miserable. That's not going to work, babe. And it's going to end up coming to the point where you're going to have some friction. You're going to have a falling out. There's going to be an explosion, especially if you're dealing with a man who is not emotionally intelligent or aware. They're most likely going to blow up at some point. If they're not someone who is able to vocalize how they feel in a healthy way, they have no outlet, they're not in therapy, they don't have friends who they feel like they can really talk to, maybe you're the only person that they are sharing their emotions and feelings with, it's gonna be a blow up at some point. And all of that anger and frustration is going to come out on you. So do you want to be the punching bag? And I'm not even just talking about physical abuse, I'm talking about mental, verbal. Like, do you want to be the punching bag emotionally? I don't think that's fair. And that doesn't sound like an ideal relationship. So, to wrap up here, I think the whole gist of this conversation, right, is for us to know our worth, know our value, get clear on what type of partnership is going to add value into our lives, okay? And value doesn't always need to equate to money. Money is important, okay? Especially if we are pushing towards marriage and sharing assets and living together, money is very important. But people can bring value in different ways. Women in general bring so much value naturally, right? Naturally, we are nurturers, we are caregivers, we're loving, we're great listeners. We love to share our opinions when asked. Don't be giving unsolicited advice to people, okay? But when asked, I think we can be really great advice givers, right? Naturally, as women, especially when we have gone through things, when we have the wisdom, when we have the emotional intelligence, I think we can be great at that, right? In most cases, women are going to be great housemakers, right? And not to say that in like a 1950s misogynistic way, right? Like you don't have to be a housewife, but let's be real. Most women are going to be the ones to spruce up the house, make it cute, make it pretty, make it smell good, make sure things are clean, right? We're in most cases cleaning more thoroughly than men, okay? Because let's be real, like a lot of these men are nasty and dirty. So in most cases, we are the ones who are going to be caring for the home, caring for the house, caring for the children, right? All of those things go under that nurturing quality. So naturally, outside of money, right? Not even talking about money, women are bringing a lot to the table off the bat, okay? Innately. These are just things that are built in us. And not to say that all women are nurturers, because there are a lot of women who may not have that nurturing quality. And I don't think that it's that they don't have it. I think sometimes it's just not activated. It's not brought out yet. And I think the right man, right, can bring out those qualities, or having a child can bring out those qualities, whether you're a single mom or not. I think once you have a child, something turns on where now it's like, oh, okay, I gotta be this nurturing mother. Like, okay. I'm a little bit more protective, right? So naturally, women are just coming to the table with these qualities, this value. Those are really high ranked values. Those are values that I feel like can't really be taught. Those are things that women just naturally, it just comes out. Okay. You end up liking a guy, you're falling in love. Like, you're going to want to do the most for that man. You're going to want to cook for him. Okay, shoot. I was cooking for some man that I was dating like a month. Okay. And it wasn't to be like in my pick me energy of like, oh, look what I can do. Like, I can cook. Like, do you like my food? It wasn't even like that. It was like, I just feel like cooking. Like, I want to switch up the date and come over. Like, I'll cook. I don't mind. When I really like people, and my friends know this, like, I do not mind cooking. I do not mind cooking for them. My friend Victor, he came and like visited a couple months ago in Cali, and I made us a nice breakfast. Like, I love taking care of people who I love. I'm a Taurus moon, okay? I love bringing out that nurturing side of me. And I feel like if I want to do it, I'm going to do it. And I think too, as women, we need to understand that when we're doing these things, we don't need to be holding them over men's head, right? We don't need to be mentioning or doing these things simply for validation. If you're doing these things for validation or for acknowledgement, you're doing it for the wrong reason. If you're cooking for someone because you want them to wife you, you're doing it for the wrong reasons. If you are having sex with someone because you want them to wife you, you're doing it for the wrong reasons. So things that we end up bringing to these relationships or these romantic dynamics, we need to do them because we want to, not because we feel like we're going to get something in return. That's pick me energy. And that's how we end up being taken advantage of. We end up getting picked by the wrong men. We end up getting the attention of a narcissist because they know, oh, I can get whatever I want from this girl because she's in her desperate energy, right? So we just want to avoid that, ladies. All right. So woman to woman, protect your energy. Woman to woman, protect your peace. Woman to woman, protect your body. Okay. Your sexual energy. It's sacred. That is your life force. That is connected to your creativity, your sacral energy. Okay. Your womb, like all of that is just, it's so special and it's so precious. And this isn't to tell anyone to become abstinent or celibate or not to have sex with anybody, but I just want you to think a few times, not even twice. I want you to think a few times before we are considering allowing someone to indulge in our privates. Okay. So please take care of yourself. Please protect yourself. Okay. And be safe out here. It's crazy out here. The government has gone wild. You know, I'm sending so much love to anyone who is not receiving a paycheck right now. Like it is crazy, but I really believe things are going to get better. I really, really do. I had also put on Threads this morning that, you know, the power is in the people. Like we got to get into our 70s revolution hippie vibe. Okay. Like the power is in the people. And I love being in California because they be out here protesting. And it ain't just the blacks. Okay. They be out here protesting for Palestine. They be out here protesting for ICE to fuck off. Excuse my French. Okay, but I love California. Super progressive. Not to say there aren't, you know, I'm sure a lot of racist people here. I recently heard that there is an area in San Diego. I want to say it's Santee, where they call it Clanty. So y'all know why. Okay, I don't even want to get into that because I don't need the algorithm picking up certain words. Okay. But yeah. So if you're coming to San Diego, just be aware of that area. I don't know the vibes over there. But yeah. So again, thank you guys so much for tuning in this week. I know this came out a little later than I said it would. But that's okay. All right. It's a full moon. It's in Taurus. I'm taking my time today. I'm listening to my body. I'm moving intuitively. I honestly have so much work to do, as always. Like, my life is just, it's never ending. This is the thing. Like, I am in the building phase of my career and honestly of my life, my whole life. Okay, if you guys have been listening to this podcast for a while or recently, you know that I uprooted from New Jersey and I relocated to Southern California at the top of this year in January. And that was something that I was planning on the low for quite some times. My girls that I used to personal train in Jersey, they know that I've been trying to dip out of Jersey for years, honey. Okay, I've been trying to get out of there for years. Somebody actually asked me the other day, like, oh, what made you move out of Jersey? And I was like, I've been wanting to leave since I was 12. Like, and that's just a random age, but I remember being young and just always feeling the urge to move and live somewhere warm and sunny, and like just watching all the shows and the movies when I was young and seeing people in California and how their life just looks so different and like so fun and free. I didn't necessarily always know that I was going to end up in California. I just always thought like West Coast for sure, you know, whether that was like Arizona, Cali, Seattle. I don't know. I heard Seattle's a bit gloomy. I can't do that. That was one of the reasons I had left Jersey too. I can't do the seasonal depression anymore. Like, Oh, I can't. Like, I love fall. I love spring. Summer in Jersey and New York is ridiculously hot and humid. Couldn't do that anymore. Couldn't do the cold. Can't do the snow. It's just when you grow up somewhere and like that is your environment and that's something that you've never liked, like it's always made you miserable at some point. You got to make a decision like, am I going to stay here and be miserable or am I going to change my environment? And I chose to change it. Okay, before we get too real into this conversation, I want to interrupt by inviting you to a very special event happening in 2026. I'm so excited to announce the Soul and Senses retreat in Bali, Indonesia. If you've been craving a reset, the kind that nourishes your body, calms your mind, and reconnects you to your purpose, then let me personally invite you to my retreat, Soul and Senses in Bali, happening April 7th to the 13th in 2026. We'll spend 6 nights in 2 luxury hotels in Seminyak, which is a beautiful, lively beach city. And then we'll spend 3 nights in Ubud, which is the jungle. It's spiritual, it's sacred, it's the place where you can really connect with your soul. We'll be surrounded by palm trees, soul-aligned women, and the most beautiful energy that you've ever felt. You'll experience dance, somatic movement, deep stretching on a daily basis, healing and grounding practices, jungle excursions and private cultural tours, meditations, journaling workshops, and spiritual connection. There are plenty of nights where you can have fun and plenty of nights to also unplug. If you're feeling like, low key and you don't feel like going out, that's okay too. Our retreats are meant to help you follow your intuition and really give your body what it's craving at the time. It's safe, it's sacred, and it's exactly what you didn't know you needed. Spots are limited for this retreat and it's going to sell out. So if you're ready to reconnect with yourself in paradise, definitely make sure you go to our website. It's linked in the show notes. Or you can send me a DM saying Bali on Instagram and I'll send you the link to register. This is not just a vacation, it's a soul shifting experience. So if you're ready to step into the next version of yourself and connect with yourself on a deeper level while being in one of the most beautiful places on earth, then I invite you to book today and I'll see you there. I am recreating and rebuilding my entire life. This entire year has been a whole transformation of self, of environment, of relationships, of business. And I've had to see certain parts of myself in a different light, in a different environment, taking a step back, being away from family, from friends, from people that I work with, and being able to see things from the outside has been so eye-opening. I think I'm so clear, so much more clear. I think I've always had a great clear vision, but I want to say that my vision has gotten even clearer being here and taking myself out of a certain dynamic and environment, and now knowing exactly what I want in relationship, in business, in family dynamic with myself, the type of life that I want to live, the type of friends that I want to be around, the support that I need, right? All of that has become so clear to me. And I have been working on just allowing that to become my reality. And how do we do that? We get clear, we write it down, we ask for it, we live it, we embody it, we take the action, we do things differently, right? We can't expect to change our lives when we're doing the same shit, living in the same place, saying you want to leave for years, but you're not taking any action. And that's where I was last year in 2024. It was a really hard year for me. I was wrapping up, I believe, my Saturn return and a lot of hard lessons. Okay, first of all, my rising is ruled by Saturn. So I feel like my entire life has been challenges, a lot of identity things. I've had to really challenge my views on who I was and who I am and the way that I was brought up, the beliefs that I was brought into, the religion I was brought into. Like all of that has been deeply questioned in the past couple of years. And last year being such a difficult year for me, having to just see certain people for who they were and seeing different sides of myself and my family, so many things that I've talked about on my Substack and maybe in previous podcast episodes. But I'm waiting for my book. Okay, I'm just going to manifest this right now because it's November. It's my birthday month. This is a time where I like to put things out. So y'all hear me saying this on Wednesday, November 5th. that a book will be coming out by me in the next few years. Now, I don't have a time when, okay? Like, one of the things with manifestation is you don't know when, honey. Okay, we just know that it's going to happen at some point. But right now, I am just working on my writing skills. I'm working on refining my craft. I didn't really start getting back into writing until last year, and it's been such a beautiful journey. I see the improvement in myself and my confidence in my voice and my writing style, and I love it. I love it. And I just plan on continuing to become better. So if you guys want to check out some of my writing before the book drops, you can go ahead and check out my Substack. You can subscribe. You can become a free subscriber, or you can become a paid subscriber for only $5.99 a month, the same that you're paying for that grande latte at Starbucks. Okay. And supporting a corporation. Okay. That's going to be another podcast topic that we need to talk about. Supporting corporations versus small businesses, Black owned businesses, women owned businesses, minority owned businesses, single solo entrepreneurs, local businesses. Okay. Because we got to cut that out. We see what's happening. This is not the time to be putting more money into these corporations' pockets, honey. All right. And I'm not just saying this for my own selfish reasons. Like, if you pay, you pay. If you don't, you don't. Okay. If you buy, you buy. You don't buy? That's okay. All right. You don't want to buy? You don't want to pay? Cool. I would never, like, I am not the type of person to beg for someone's money. I think that money stays so much longer and it has so much more value when people actually want to give it to you, right? When we are like trying to force people to pay us and make people feel bad and guilty about not spending money for whatever it is that we're offering, or just needing money, you know, whether that's for like help or bills or whatever, right? When we're in that energy of like desperation and needing to make people feel bad, that money is not going to stay. It's not going to grow. It's not going to stay, right? It's almost like, it's like blood money. It's guilt money, right? And that doesn't feel good. And you're not going to have the same appreciation for that money. So I'd rather take money from people who actually want to support what I'm putting out into the world, people who want to support my creativity and my art, and people who genuinely are okay with spending that money. Anybody who's like begrudgingly spending money on something, like that's bad energy. It's bad money, okay? And like my girl Zemi said on our episode, I don't even know what episode, maybe in the 30s, very early on, not all money is good money. Not all money is good money. So remember that, okay? So when we're spending money, just think of the energy behind it, because everything has energy in this world. Money has energy. You have energy. Your phone has energy. Your pets have energy. Your words have energy. Your thoughts have energy. So just think about, what energy am I putting behind this? All right. So again, for like the third time, we're actually going to wrap up here. Not me thinking this was going to be a 15-minute episode and we're at like 46 minutes. This is crazy, but I really enjoy this chit chat with you. See how much more you guys can get out of me when I'm not feeling pressured to show my face on camera. We might do more of these, you know, audio only episodes, okay? Especially because on Substack, I know you guys are listening audio. I see the views and thank you. I love it. On Spotify and Apple, I only upload audio. I do not upload video to Spotify and Apple. And I know that's a feature that you can do on Spotify. I just choose not to do that because I'd rather people come on over to my YouTube channel, because that's where I'm trying to grow. So yeah, I mean, for the most part, podcasting is an audio. It's an audio thing. It's always been that way. It wasn't until recently, you know, 2023, 2024, where podcasting became this now visual talk show. You know, everybody needs like this glamour setup. It's just not that for me. And I would love to get back to the point where I'm like recording in studio with guests, but we're not there yet. We're not there yet. I'm investing a lot of money in different things. And right now, a podcast studio is just not, it's not a priority for me. So I probably will be dropping a bonus episode this week. Do not hold me to it, but I'm feeling a little spicy. Okay. It's Scorpio season. So I might give you guys an extra episode this week with video, because I do want to upload something to my YouTube channel. I do love you guys so much. And I do want to stay consistent on that platform. So be on the lookout for that. Okay. But in the meantime, go rate and review, go subscribe to YouTube, Follow us on Instagram, Let's Just Be Real Pod, Wristfit Kitty, Substack, Marissa Tong, read my work, share. We're in the age of Aquarius. Support your people, support your community, support. Speak up, share your voice, share your opinions, okay? And yeah, let's do the damn thing. So thank you guys so much. Have a beautiful rest of your week, and I'll see you guys in another episode. Take care. Bye.